Hello and welcome to Engine Adventures review of this 2024 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. All the TRD Pros are hybrid, and so it's powered by the 3.4 liter, which Toyota called it 3.5 for a little while. Anyway, twin turbo V6. It's a good amount of torque with those twin turbos, and they spool up pretty low. The hybrid system adds a little bit of power down low, probably helps with fuel efficiency a little bit, but it still doesn't get great fuel mileage. If you're cruising, it cruises really nice and you're getting in the 20 range, but around town, I've been getting about 12. Anyway, it's really powerful, lots of torque throughout the range. It's not gonna win many races, but the power's always there, and like towing and stuff with it, be sure and watch the towing video, because having the torque on hand, it just feels effortless to pull a trailer with this thing. A few things underneath the skid plate, we'll talk about it more when I do the underneath shot, but this front skid plate that's for the TRD Pro is sorry for the noise. Anyway, right there is a jack point where you can use a floor jack and lift up the whole front end from the center of it, which is a pretty cool feature that you don't have to remove the skid plate to get to the jack points. It's just there. Of course, if you're familiar with TRD Pros, they all come with BBS forged wheels. I believe that's across the 4Runner, Tacoma, of course the Tundra here, and the Sequoia. And you get the Falcon Wild Peak AT3Ws. So these are the 3-peak Snowflake, I believe. These ones are not, just mud and snow rated. Normally the AT3W is 3-peak, so I wonder if these are a special one for the Tundra. They're 285 65 R18s.
Nice.
Oh, all right. Oh, that was gone. Went over. So we're at 20 miles an hour, and if you remember in the past, the Tundra and Sequoia have been kind of the smoothest over this, as far as they eat up the little bumps really well, or up to the 21, 22. It's such a big vehicle that some of these bigger bumps, which I was really nervous they were okay, can hit pretty hard just because the length of the vehicle lines up poorly. But overall, these are some of the most comfortable and smoothest vehicles this particular dirt road. Yeah, I mean, we're 25, 26 now. Try and keep it somewhat clean. Nice! I love that side. So I would give it probably 23 mile an hour average over that, which is really good for an off-roader. Well, 20 is the minimum kind of acceptable speed for an off-roader, so it's up there, but there weren't really any rattles or anything. It felt very composed going over all that. Kind of sucks that you only get your off-road pages when you're like under 10 miles an hour. I mean, it is helpful at low speed still, but oh, did its braking on its own. All right, so your drive mode buttons are here. Drive mode, multi-terrain select, crawl control, all that. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop it into 4 low so we can use crawl control. I don't know if it wants me to go to 4 high first and then 4 low. Yeah, apparently you have to go to 4 high first, then 4 low to make it happy. So now I can hit the crawl control button right there. No, I can't. Why can I not? All right, we'll hit a multi-terrain select, and then we'll hit the crawl control. Huh. There you go. It's got to be in drive. So it has the speeds up here, which you're not gonna be able to see super well. Actually, let's just do this. All right, so up here, as I rotate the dial, sorry, it's a pretty good angle, that has the different crawl control speeds. And over here you can see the angles and stuff like that. So we'll go ahead, see if we can get some footage. Actually, and I want to show you this. So they have the different downhill assist or crawl control, multi-terrain select, drive modes, and tow haul mode. Here's the 4-wheel drive, so you push it down and then move it to where you want it. right, it's looking pretty good there. In drive, crawl control, slowest speed. I'm gonna do no hands. Well, I am gonna do hands because I still have to steer. I'm gonna do no feet. So it's doing the braking and everything on its own. Actually, pick it up one speed till we get off this lip. There we go. So dropping down one. I don't like that rock. So we're still crawl control. I'm not on the gas at all. It's doing this all by itself. And go back in this way. Let's see if we can clear rock. Yep, there we go. Okay, I was on the brake, but shouldn't have been. Crawl control can handle all this. And the ABS is running. It's normally quieter. I don't know. It's a little bit noisier than I remember it being in the last Tundra I had, but it is still fairly smooth. This thing's got to be lifting a wheel on the rear. And the slower you go, the jerkier it is. So I'll up the speed in a minute, but we're lifting wheels left and right here. Pitch and roll gauge, and we're at least 15 right now, probably about 20, 21. Man, there's a loose bolt under this truck. I don't know what it is, but I don't like it. Okay, we'll go up. Now we're gonna go to the mid speed. There's 5 speeds total. So going up high 1 now. And this angle is pretty darn bad, so we're gonna go way left and then swing back right to clear this, and I think I'll actually go kick this rock out of the way. Okay, crawl control, low 2, no feet. You probably can't see that, but my feet are off. And then we're gonna see if we can run over the cameraman here. This thing is really slow, so it's slower than I remember, which is great. Like if you want really slow precision movements, this lowest level of crawl control is definitely that. Oh, there it goes, getting jerky. All right, so the crawl control going up. Let's see what we can see here. I don't know if you can see right there. Not quite. It goes down. So right here, next to the flasher button, is the rear diff lock button. We're not locked right now. The thing with the rear diff on this, we can keep it aimed down there, is you have to be in 4 low. So you can't use it in 2-wheel drive, 4 high, anything like that, like you can on some of the domestic ones. Not a bad thing, but Toyota kind of advertises their rear diff locker as, if you're stuck, use it to get out, otherwise don't use it, which isn't my favorite thing. It probably protects them from liability or something, I don't know. But for me, I don't like it. I would rather be able to engage it when I want. And I mean, even the other ones, they'll disengage at 18 miles an hour or something like that if you're in 2-wheel drive. If you're in 4 low, I think they'll stay locked. But anyway, just something to think about. It would be nice, and I'm sure someone has already made a computer system that bypasses it so you can do whatever. But all right, so we're getting into the deep ruts here. There we go. And again, this is all crawl control. I'm not pushing the gas or the brake, and I don't have the locker engaged, so it's just crawl control's doing everything here. Again, something on that front end isn't happy. I do want to mention the rear suspension on this is now coil springs. It used to be leaves. Oh yeah, we're really shaking. And as I mentioned before, the slowest one is the hardest. So if you up the speed a little bit, it's going to be smoother. It's just if you're rock crawling or something and likely to damage bounce into a rock or high center or something. If you're going too fast, then you would use this setting, but normally you'd use a faster setting and it will be smoother and more effective at climbing most things. And there you go. So I'm gonna go ahead and up it to the fastest speed. And the fastest speed is 4 miles an hour. So pretty good. Crawl control, we are lowest speed. We're gonna start with the lowest. I'll probably adjust up a little bit once we get past this initial drop in. Might actually have to readjust. We'll readjust a little bit while we're still safe. There we go. I'm on the brake actually. I'm gonna keep riding the brake for a second. We're good there. All right, all crawl control now. And it's not yelling at me for seatbelt yet. I'm surprised. We are, I wish this gauge were a little better, but it says almost 30 degrees there for a second. But the highest I normally get is about 25. This truck's a little longer. Oh geez, really jerky here. So it might be getting a higher angle than before, just based on, yeah, the extra length, making the back end be higher while the front end's lower. All right, up to speed mid, about 2 miles an hour. So each one's about 1 mile an hour, but low 2 I believe is like half a mile an hour, and then low 1 is 1, mid is 2 miles an hour, high 1 is 3, and high 2 is 4 miles an hour. And we can test that. So we're at 2, I just upped it to high 1. We're still in the 2, just barely 3 range. And then high 2 is in the 3 range. So 3 to 4, I guess it depends on the terrain you're on. The steeper you are, the slower it goes maybe. All right. Let's get rid of that. Now it wants my seatbelt on. Now that we're on nice smooth ground. Okay, so this one I'm just gonna run the multi-terrain select, and let me bring you back down here again. So your multi-terrain select, you have in 4 low, you have rock, mud, and sand. In 4 high, you have issues. There we go. Dirt, sand, mud, and deep snow. So we're gonna go back to 4 low, and we're gonna run this. We climb this hill in 4 high, just 4 high, normal drive mode, not multi-terrain select, but we're gonna go ahead and run this. Let's do, I don't know, let's do sand mode, just see how much we can get it to slip. So, put you back up here, hopefully a decent view, and no crawl control, just me driving this time, which is worse, I'm sure. See, so crawl control went slower through that before, and you saw how much more it struggled versus me driving through it at 2 miles an hour. Even makes a big difference compared to the crawl control. So we'll go ahead and hit these deep ruts. This section's not as bad. The next section will be a monster. Probably get a little wheel spin right here. Nothing. The length on this truck clears those, so. Like that. Okay, so let's try rock mode and see if it does any better. See that? Rock mode, way more aggressive on the crawl control, pulled me right up out of that. So that's one thing I do appreciate that Toyota does. When you're in the different drive modes, it actually adjusts the traction system a lot. So it also shows which wheels are spinning there, front left, rear right. I'll give it a little bit of throttle so we can climb out of this. But in rock mode, much more precise than in sand mode. But in sand mode, when you're actually on sand, you don't want your brakes cutting in and slowing you down, cutting power, whatever. I mean, this thing's a beast. It's got a ton of power, ton of torque, all through the rev range. So it's not as big of a deal, but you still don't want your brakes jumping in and killing you on power and causing you to get stuck. So that's why they do the different programmings in the different modes. 4 low, first gear. I'm gonna be on the brakes for the first little bit. Once we get past this boulder, I'll get off the brakes and let it roll. So in manuals, you don't have the torque converter, so it's a little bit better, but in the autos, obviously the torque converter is slipping when you're in first gear, so you're not going to stall it when you come to a stop. So go ahead and let off the brake entirely. This is 4 low first gear on this 10-speed, and we're going 6 miles an hour, 7 miles an hour there. So it is definitely not geared super low. I'll make sure and get the crawl ratio for you. I haven't calculated that yet, but I'll get it for you. A lot of the 10 speeds have a real low first gear, and when you force it to stay in first gear, it has a decent crawl ratio, especially you get the Ford F-250 10 speed with the 430 rear axle. That thing has a pretty darn good crawl ratio. Still not a manual, but pretty good. All right. So last one here, we're in 4 low still. We're just gonna hit the rear locker. It's gonna do some binding. Let me see. There it is. Okay. So come on, disconnect. Right here, you have the rear locker flashing. And what I'm gonna do on this one is turn off the multi-terrain select and just hit nothing. So there's nothing selected there. And we'll go ahead and give it a shot here. So rear locker on, multi-terrain select off, just standard. If you shifted it into 4 low and lock the rear, this is how it would drive. Now, going up here with the rear locker. Again, we didn't really slip in these holes. I would expect some right there, but we don't get it. All right, worst spot is right here. Right there. There we go. So with the rear locker on, I don't know if I have a different angle or just the locker. I mean, it slipped a tiny bit there, but that locker makes all the difference. If you compare this to the last one, or even the one with crawl control, trying to climb that, using the rear locker, I'm just trying to stay 1 mile an hour or less, and really just crawled up that thing without any issues at all. Up front, we have the TRD bash plate, which protects the engine and front end a little bit. And then behind that, we have the transmission, which is unprotected, but it sits up high between the frame rails. There on the left is the fuel tank with a plastic skid over it. It's hanging down a little bit low. It's not super well protected. And then out back, there's nothing to worry about. Thank you for watching Engine Adventures review of this 2024 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. Sweet engine, tons of torque. I love the way all that works. It's just, you feel like you have torque on demand. Anytime you want it, it's there. It feels like an electric vehicle that's, you know, not quite as powerful as the Ford Lightning and stuff like that, but it feels like the torque is there all the time. It's pretty sweet. Off-road, high-speed stuff, this thing's really smooth and composed. I don't think I got 4 wheels in the air. This thing ate up that bump at 28 miles an hour without catching air. Pretty impressive. We'll have to check the camera footage to see, but yeah, overall, really performed quite well. That rear locker, which you didn't get in the previous generation, sure makes a difference when you're climbing the hill, whether you want to use crawl control or just drive yourself. Rear locker is a huge difference and just makes it a lot easier. Crawl control system, much improved over the previous generation, as we've already talked about, but the spherical valves on the ABS pumps just make a really big difference. It was still a little bit jerky when you're in the slowest speed, but as you increase that speed, it makes it run a lot smoother. Anyway, I would rate this thing pretty darn good overall. As far as half-ton trucks go, you've got the outliers like the Raptor and the TRX. But here with the Tundra TRD Pro, you're looking at things. The ZR2 is kind of an in-betweener. Anyway, GMC A204X and the Chevy Silverado ZR2. Similar, they're about the same as this, but they have the front locker, maybe a little bit bigger lift, bigger tires, but overall not much improved over this. And I would say the ride is better in this at higher speeds. Things like the Ford Ranger or Ford F-150 Tremor and Ram Rebel are pretty similar to this as well, but for high speed smoothness, Toyota seems to have that down. They've been doing Baja forever, and they seem to have that really dialed in. That's where this thing shines. So if you liked what you saw, be sure to hit subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post new videos. Give me a thumbs up, comment down below, or if you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down, comment down below. I want to know why, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to see different. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day.